It's us again.
Look who's back. Anyway, we're mad panic in the office here, cleaning up and getting everything out of the place and stuff. And Robin's still here. So we thought there's a few things going on, and we thought we'd talk about something. We're not quite sure what yet, but I'll go through a few quick ones. First of all, would you like some pemmican? This is Istvan's.
I thought this was a stogie on your desk that you were about to start smoking or
That's right,
something.
Yeah. There's a funniest story is, I mean, read the label. Anything hit you sort of really as a surprise?
No nitrite pemmican.
Yeah, keep going.
Keep frozen.
It says on here.
It says keep frozen.
So I didn't pick that up. So here's the deal. This farm, when he gets back, he's all talking about his food supplements, the fruit and veggie thing, and he gives me some pemmicans. Oh, Don, try this. And I was actually quite keen because I do a lot of stuff in Antarctica, and all the Antarctic explorers ate pemmican and gave it to their dogs, and Scott ate it and all the rest of it. So I opened up the packet of pemmican like this, you know what I mean, and all oily and everything, pulled it out thinking that's it and bit into it. Then I realised it's not a condom on there, it's actually got another layer of plastic on it. But there it is there.
You're
That's the bit you're meant to eat. It's actually not bad, but I'm not going to eat it because it's very fatty and gooey. But yeah, you just sort of feed it out of that one. So anyway, I did eat one, and it's quite cool, but it's a sustenance thing. It's not,
Yeah, right.
So I've got an oily hand.
It wouldn't go for my diet anyway.
No. Anyway, so then what I did is when Jean-Luc came in after I'd eaten one, I said, "Hey, Jean-Luc, check out this. This is Istvan's pemmican." And the first thing he said, it's been on my desk for 5 weeks, is keep frozen. I said, what? Anyway, but you don't have to keep it frozen. It's sort of okay. Crikey's now got it stuff everywhere.
Now we've got that mess over.
Sorry. Okay, this is all. This is GGR. So that's the story of Istvan's pemmican, and it's quite fatty and greasy, so it's got a lot of calories in it.
Yeah, it's not.
And he swore by it. I think. Well, one thing's about food. Your tastes change.
Yes.
So you'd probably try it. The other thing, I don't know whether I told you this story. Went to dinner with Jean-Luc on the weekend, and it was old food off his boat.
Yeah.
Just to show us how good it was, and this is French food. He had this 3 different menus of his main meal. This was his favourite ones. It was a tin about this big, about that round, and about that thick. Cost €25 per tin.
That's expensive.
25 euros per tin, and it was like one was like pheasant and da 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 da. Another one was wild boar and bits and pieces, and another one was I forget what the other one was. But we had it, Jane and I, as a full-on dinner, as the main course. Had other things. It was unbelievable. It was like as if you're at a restaurant, and it was just a classic example. Jean-Luc saying, "Oh, I eat pretty well."
Yeah, well, I mean that's this French cuisine and it's prepared by chefs, and it's top end stuff. It's
absolutely
fantastic.
Yeah, you don't buy that top stuff in the supermarket, but there's specialists that have all this stuff.
Yeah.
You can get anything. So he ate really well. So that's pretty cool. Next thing, we did the prize giving ceremony already, and that's all gone out. But Meridian, who make all of these classic navigation instruments, have actually produced a quadrant, right, for Tapio. This is a little trophy for Tapio when he gets in. It's a nautical quadrant.
This is a terrific trophy.
Yeah, they make them all by hand. It's quite cool, but this one's got a badge on it for GGR.
Yeah.
So, and I have no idea what era this is. I thought Robin would know.
Yeah.
But all we've concluded, we'll have to Google it and find out, that it's probably preceded the octant.
Yeah, no, it goes way back.
So it's a really basic system that does exactly the same as a sextant. So this is obviously always hanging down as gravity. And you can actually, if you can imagine this, if you had the sun up there, you could look through the little hole there and there, line it up with the sun, so from my eye to the sun, and then you just read it off there, and that gives you the height of the sun, gives you a thing, and meanwhile you burn your eyes. But they didn't do that. What they did is they held it like that. They would hold it like this, and they'd put their hand there and then line up the two holes.
The sunlight would come down through the holes.
Burn a hole in your hand, So it's all pretty cool, So it's very simple, very rudimentary, but it's quite effective. And you can do meridian passage. You can do it with stars. If you're doing it at night time with a star, like the Polaris or something, you could try and identify the star and catch up with it. So you can actually take a reading. So the guys at Meridian who do all this, they're sort of passionate on what they do. They've produced that one specifically for Tapio. Oh, and all the entrants are on the back again. So
yeah, no, that's terrific, because that would be a really good, meaningful trophy for Tapio.
He'll get off on it.
He'll absolutely love it.
He'll get off on that for sure. Mm-hmm. That's his cup of tea. So that's kind of cool. And then what we've got here is a whack-a-dacker. Now
we've each got one.
This is an interesting story. Rob and I are really good mates. We go back a long time. But we started a discussion some time ago about wind vanes, and the issue with wind vanes is that it's a piece of equipment that's vital on all the entrant boats. Okay, that's pretty obvious. But there were so many failures in the GGR that it was like it was like a whale situation. And then some of the failures in the Southern Ocean, we believed as the organiser was affecting the safety, because if you lose your wind vane at the wrong time, it puts more stress on the skipper because you can't steer. Right? You've got a hand steer. There's no one else helping you steer. And in storms and things like that, that puts added pressure. And certainly in RA's case, when he lost his rig, he broke the safety tube on his wind vane. Now, what's a safety tube? You all know about the flip-flop wind vanes and the servo pendulum in the water for a wind vane. Okay, that's a servo pendulum system. The other one's the auxiliary rudder system, like Robin had on Suhaili. I did that one, and the hydrovane. Now, when you have a pendulum system, that's actually the blade. You want to hold up the blade?
This is the paddle.
Yes.
This is the blade.
This is off the monitor. Okay. So that's in the water, and this bit here connects to the rest of the wind vane above it. So the water line is about here somewhere.
Water line's about here.
Okay.
And then once the boat gets underway, the water line is getting more to the top. Is about here.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So and then as this turns one way or the other, that's when it pivots up to the surface.
The water flow against it pushes it one way or the other way.
Yeah. Now the idea of the safety tube is that you imagine all this gizmo here that goes up there. That's really strong. And if this ever hit a log in the water or took a really super duper overload, this is a weak link, it's a break point. That's where it actually breaks, or it actually crumples and bends over. And the reason that it does that is so that it doesn't overload the rest of the vane and break something up here. So it's a breakaway coupling, the weak link. So it's designed to break or bend or deflect, whatever, and save the rest of the wind vane. So then you can take this off, like lean over the side, take it off, take it on board, undo the bolts there, and put a new coupling in. And the coupling's just a tube that sits there. So that's pretty straightforward. The challenges are, what would you perceive the first thing to replace the rudder? What's the big challenge for you?
Well, the big challenge has always been actually getting the rudder off the thing. So the first thing we did was modify with a very quick pin release, so that that pin for connecting and disconnecting, that can just slot straight in and slot straight in.
That just dropped down 3,000 metres
well,
of course into the ocean, but you have a string on it.
To start with, you'll carry a few spare pins.
Yeah, we're only old blokes and we haven't got the safety line on it.
And we haven't got the little safety lines on them. So that's a very quick release, so you can pull. So that alone will make the replacement of a safety tube a lot quicker and a lot easier, for Southern Ocean use.
Yeah. Before we go too far, I'll tell you what's going on here. The idea is that certainly Ari had problems, and he was then hove to repairing this, and while he was hove to repairing that's when he was rolled over and lost his mast. And Susie also had some problems with the tube breaking at an inappropriate moment, and then losing the wind vane, and then complicating the issue and so on. So from an organiser's point of view, we started to look at this as if we were a Formula One racing car organisation. If some of the cars had a safety issue in their differential or something, we'd say, oh, that's it, that component's got to be removed, and you've got to show us you've done the engineering work before we'll approve it and let it come back onto the car. Now, we weren't going to do that for the GGR, but we certainly were looking at the issues, because if we thought there was a known problem in a product, that had reference to safety, as an organiser, we're obligated to take it quite seriously. So we started a conversation. Now, these are the fixes that the manufacturer and Robin have come up with. You know, Robin really likes the monitor, and I had one in the BOC, you know, previously, and there's thousands of them around the world and all that sort of stuff. But I think everyone agreed, and even the manufacturer knew that, you know, there were a bit too many, you know, going off.
Yeah, I mean, you know, from when Ari's first broke, we were talking about this, and then looking at it again in terms of Ari, and then with Susie's bended couplings as well. So we've been looking at this for several months and coming up with, you know, what we think is, you know, a fix that addresses the problem.
Yeah. So the first one was simply to make it easier to get on and off, and it's a simple fix, but it's really effective. I think we both agree on that. It's going to make it a lot different.
Yeah.
And so then it comes off and you repair it. Now the other suggestion is, as a recommendation, is to actually carry 2 paddles. So the idea then is, you want to tell them the idea if you've got 2 paddles?
Yeah, I mean, basically you can pull the other one off and immediately put the spare one on. The spare one's all made up, ready to go with this piece on it and this piece and the safety tube. So the 3 pieces are made up, ready to go, and, you know, immediately and instantly, i.e. within 3 or 4 minutes of, you know, a coupling going, you can immediately have fitted the new part and be underway again.
Yeah, exactly. So it's another pretty simple thing that now everyone's aware of it. You just lean over the side, you pull one off, get it off, chuck it in, have the other one there, bring it down, boom, get the good one on, and then go and fix the other one later while it's all going. That's all handling systems, which is all kind of cool. And then the other one is the next one. You might not be able to see this, but if I put these side by side and try to hold it steady, it's probably out of focus. You'll see the wall thickness on this one is a lot. This is thin, that one's thick. It's pretty obvious. So now there's a bulletproof, really thick tube, eh?
Yeah, we've really gone for something a little stronger, and you can actually tell by the weight of the 2 tubes that one is a thicker wall, heavier tube that obviously, you know, would bend and buckle at a much higher load. And having, you know, checked the loadings on the top end here and the bottom end here, you know, we're still well satisfied that, you know, it's the tube that's still going to be the weak link, but it'll be quite a bit stronger. And we've also taken 2 inches out of the tube. That again also makes it stronger, and that lifts the paddle up a couple of inches, which when you look at it in context of how loaded up these boats are, and down by the back end, the paddle is still going to be in the water when the boat is underway at good speed.
Yeah, because there's 2 parts to that. An owner, when he fits it, could actually be up high or down low, eh? And so there's a bit of variance between, you know, you can juggle using a longer tube or a shorter tube, or bring the mount of the whole unit down lower, depending on the transom.
Yeah,
I
mean, I think, you know, when we look back at Ari's was mounted way too high with much too long a safety tube, and that was the root cause of his problem.
Yeah,
was much too long a safety tube for it to have the strength necessary.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, all sounds good. So from our perspective, you know, we haven't done anything official like this, but we certainly had already said that as far as GGR was concerned, the Hydrovane was okay, the Aries was okay, the Wind Pilot was okay, and now we're comfortable with all that. So it's sort of like the monitor is okay, and then we got to look at, you know, what level we take it to the next lot when someone turns up with another wind vane, whether we address that, because, you know, we're pretty confident that the wind vane's important and very nice and all those things, but it's really got to the point now where we think it's a safety item. We're getting close to that way, you know. It's got safety relevance.
Right, and everything on the boat is a safety item, you know. I mean, masts and rigging, you know. We're re-looking at rigging, we're re-looking at masts and all these items.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's really always these delicate issues for the organiser. You know, when we see something, we know, you know, we sort of say, because we talked about it before, you know, we used to look at some of the boats and say, you know, between those that are in the know, you look at it and say, never going to cut it, you know. But you can't really say anything because you don't want to, you know, that's the nature of the race. The ones that get it right are going to be there at the end of the day, and those that get it wrong,
that's right. But I mean, everybody who's going to be doing the next race is going to look at this race and what failed and why it failed, and if they're thinking of going the same route as, for example, with the monitor, they're going to say, well, what's the monitor done? Well, this is what the monitor's done, and this is the, Southern Ocean version for the GGR of the monitor.
Yeah, cool.
And I'm very confident that it will be, first rate for me in 2022.
Certainly address the issues anyway. So that's cool. So what are you up to? What's happening?
Oh, I'm just hanging out here for a few days. I'm going to sail back to England at the weekend, and I may take a long trip round, 10 or 12 days, and head out into Biscay and towards the Azores a little bit and pick up some good winds and sail back into England. I think I'm then going to put the boat ashore for a couple of months, go back to the USA, go back to Cleveland, and deal with some, my stuff there. Yeah. And then come back in August, get the boat ready. I've got a few more jobs to do from the race point of view.
I think you will right until 2022. Yeah. It's a boat.
And, I think maybe in September then we'll take the boat across to the USA.
Yeah, cool.
In September we can come down here, at about the race start time and do a run down to the Canaries on the way to the USA.
That's cool. Yeah, that sounds good. And so you're happy with your mast? Got all the bits on board?
Mast is good. I mean, when we're talking about, what manufacturers think, obviously we've got the monitor and the Aries and the Hydrovane from the self-steering point of view. Equally, we've got the mast makers, Sparcraft, Selden. I've got Sparcraft. I've got the old mast of Jean-Luc, and
it's the old new mast.
The old new mast. They've looked very closely at what happened to Jean-Luc's rig, and they're coming up with their recommendations and fixings. And
it's interesting. They've thought of all sorts of little things.
Yes,
just little things.
It's small really details that are very important. We've got some discussions with them to come in the next month or two. Yeah, and a little modifications to the mast, either in September when we come back down here or next year, as we get the mast ready for the race.
Yeah, cool. Okay. All very good. Everything's getting pretty hectic here now, so I'm starting to run out of brain power to think of other questions to ask, because we've pretty well spoken about everything. What's happening? What do you want to tell the world?
What do I want to tell the world? Hey,
Excuse me.
It was 4 years. Now it's 3 years.
Oh, it's amazing,
The time is slipping by. So,
absolutely.
Value every day of it and go out and, enjoy it and sail a bit and prepare a bit and
if there's one thing that's obvious, we're trying to do the calendar, working out when all the entrants will get together again and all that sort of stuff. It's like just over the horizon. The start again is just amazing.
I mean, it looks like we've got a pretty good crowd building for competitors for the next race. Obviously, Ayrton's back. Ayrton and I've talked a lot, about how where we can work together on stuff and so on.
Are you're thinking about doing the Ostar? I see Pat is talking about doing the Ostar now.
I did it in 1998. I do not need to 1988. I don't need to beat to windward to America. If I'm going to sail to America, I can sail down to the Canaries and across with the trade winds.
We're thinking about having a GGR division, but if we do, we'll make the Canaries or the Azores a rounding mark.
Right, and maybe everybody should leave their GPSs at home as well.
Well, we're talking about all sorts of ideas.
I know. All right. So we're going to do some sailing. We're going to sail across and sail back, and cover some miles, and just look at Jean-Luc. I mean, over 3 years, he carefully did his work, and he did it thoroughly. He did it in detail, and he had a terrifically good race because of it. And that's exactly what I can have.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, starting tomorrow, there's the big film festival here. In fact, there's a lot going on here right now. All of the Figaro boats here, the Beneteau Figaro foilers are here doing the Metrocoque, a solo sort of series around here. They take off tomorrow, I think, for an overnighter and stuff. It's all the big names are on the dock. It's quite quite fun.
Yeah, it's 2 nights. Oh yeah, there's some big rock star names here on the dock.
Yep,
this
absolutely.
This is big business, and they're only little boats.
Yep, actually, and I'll just bring up Loic Perron has got a boat down there as well, and he just had some really fantastic article with Voilier magazine. We took the relevant bit out. It's a post on the on our Facebook site. It's worth reading because he brings up some really interesting points. So thanks, Loic. And then tomorrow there's a 3-day film festival starts here, Adventure Marine Film Festival, and it's a complete sellout. It's fantastic and lots of things. So Jean-Luc and I are there doing different things, doing some presentations, little talks and stuff. So this place is alive. France is just going off.
Oh yeah,
with all sorts of things.
Summer's arrived. Things are happening here.
Yeah, exactly. All right, one final one. These incredibly valuable plaques. This one is priceless because it's got a defect on it. Anyway, we are redoing them, and they're working on the moulds and stuff like that, and they'll be available again in about 3 weeks. We think 3 weeks they might be hot off the press. So because we actually started to sell quite a few, and then we said, "Oops,
it's got a defect." Well, has anything not got? Anything's got
it's
a
the
defect.
GGR.
It's
the GGR. That's cool. So anyway, there'll be 18 of these going off, and I think some have already been pre-ordered and stuff. But if you're thinking about this incredible bulkhead plate, it's pretty good. You don't get one yet.
No.
You've got to go for a sale before you get it.
I'll get one in 3 years' time.
Yeah, exactly.
4 years' time.
All right, so that's about it. This could be the last one for you and I for some time.
Well, you know, we could meet up again some from time to time.
Absolutely.
And have another little chat.
We'll probably be around in September.
Well, then
we may be doing something at Southampton Boat Show. We're not sure yet. We're just talking about that and a few other things. So I'm sure we'll bump into each other. In the meantime, keep stroking your lovely monitor.
Oh no, monitor. The monitor. This is my best friend for the race. Believe it or not.
Yeah, I believe that. Okay, so thanks for that, and we'll. I still haven't done. Yeah, that's it. Okay, bye bye.